Oh, that's not in the right place. Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whichever way round. I should have said that wherever you are in the world. Yes, it is Sunday night and my framing is off. But there is a reason for that. I'm using a different camera and I hadn't actually anticipated the framing. Oh dear, one moment. Please bear with me, caller. Let me just fix that before it annoys me. My head's hitting the top. That's not right at all. That's not right at all. Let's do... there we go. Hello, good afternoon, good evening. Yes, it is Sunday night. It is time for another live stream. Tonight we are going to be talking about the DJI Action. No, we're not. We're going to be talking about the DJI Osmo Nano. I've got action in my head because my action is here because I've been using it all day. Yes, we're going to be talking about the Osmo Nano in comparison to the DJI Action 2. No ad. We are going to be talking about the mess that DJI is in a little bit. I put a video out on that today. Moving on. We are going to talk about little action cameras, what's going on. We'll talk about the Osmo and then the little action cameras and stuff like that. And we will catch up on anything else that's going on in FPV. Now, I'm a little late getting myself set up and working today. Hello, there's 60 odd of you here already. Hello, I hope you are well. I'm just making sure I've got everything set up. Caddx, we're going to talk about Caddx, new thermal camera. And we should probably discuss the golden Mavic as well. So I hope you are all doing well. I'm just lining that up. Fly High has said, I've heard this 100 times, Fly High. I've got 04 Pros and Lights coming in 20 to 30 days. Pre-order on his site now. Stupid government won't stop me. Yeah, look, there is talk of some DJI supply heading into the US. I'm not sure how legitimate it is, and what I mean by that is I don't mean they're selling dodgy stuff. I just think alternative supply routes is the term I will use. But overall, things haven't really improved with that. Right, I'm just going to stop that because I was recording on that on purpose a second. Oh, my cup of tea has arrived as well. That's good timing. One moment. Let me grab that as well. There we go. Thank you very much. I'm just going to make a quick change on this camera because I want to do one thing to test it. Although it's probably going to set itself on fire when I do this. There we go. Oh, God, I changed the wrong setting. Yes, I've got the Action Mini in my hand. I've been flying this for the last 2 days. I have to say, I'm actually quite impressed. But I want to record a minute just to see something on what it does. No smuggling yet. So, I want to just do something. Let me know... Oh, my cup of tea is there. Let me know how the camera behaves. I am using a new camera. I have been slowly upgrading the cameras on the channel, and this is a biggie, this one. So first of all, you are seeing me in full frame greatness. And I actually have a camera now. We're actually in autofocus mode. And I have a camera now that will do autofocus. And just to prove that it will do autofocus, I'm going to stop the recording on that. And I'm going to go, yes, you can now get something like this as well. I moved it in front of my head. I've got face recognition on. Ah, there we go. It should be faster. It doesn't help. I'm on face recognition. So it's going to want to try and go for my head. So I have to keep it in front of my head. If I put it there, it's going to lock to my face because I'm in face recognition mode. But if I keep it in front of my head, it blocks it. So, yes. Yes! Panasonic have created autofocus. Who would have thought? But yes, you're seeing me in full frame glory right now. I'm not 100% happy with the colour. The colour feels a little bit off. It still feels a little bit warm, a little orangey, a little reddy to me. I don't know how you guys what it looks like on your side, but it still feels a little bit warm. So I just need to tune it. But yes, we are slowly getting through the gear. I've finally moved away from MFT. My main front camera was a G9. I've used it for years because I've really liked the G9 from a video perspective, but I have this week upgraded it and bought myself an S5 IIX, which is what I've gone with, which will also do ProRes to an SSD. Not that I intend to use that in the studio, because my name's not Gerald Undone. However, we've got some Tony now. What we didn't have before was Tony. That's got to be at least Tony 2 or 3 in the background for anyone who knows what I'm talking about. You know, if we wanted to go full Tony, or Toner, we'd have to go, you know, that is full. Oh, I got to get it in front of my face. Come on, Panasonic. See, that is full Tony. That is full Toner. Come on, Toner. Come from the background, Toner. My God. Phase detect autofocus. Panasonic. What is going on? Contrast and phase detect. This is incredible. For anyone who uses Panasonic, you will know what I mean. But I have got it in face tracking mode, so it does want to track me rather than anything else. But yes, we have a mild amount of Toner 2, Toner 3 in the background, which we always love. So, anyway, getting on with the show. Last couple of days, been trying to get some videos finished. I've been flying with this. And this is the Hover Air X1 Pro Max. I actually really like this drone. Do you know what I really like about this drone, though? It does decent footage, but it folds up, but it's basically indestructible. And what I mean by that is you can just do things like this with it, and the plastics are solid. You cannot break this drone very, very easily. You literally can't. And it's quite cool. I quite like that. It's a great little selfie drone. And yeah, it's interesting. So there's a video coming on that. So I've been using that. But obviously, I have been flying with this thing for the last couple of days. The new Osmo Nano. There are some incredibly cool things about this camera. I didn't watch many reviews. The fact it's got wireless video is quite cool to the display. And it works at a shocking distance. I don't know in yards or meters. It had to be 300 I got to today with this. It has to be 200-300 meters I got with this today. I was really impressed. But obviously, being wireless isn't what is important about this. What's important is the footage and the difference. And I've been testing it on the Nazgul. You can see here, dual action camera mount. I've been testing it up against the Action 2. I did originally intend to test it up against the Runcam Thumb 2 as well. Unfortunately, there was an incident whilst getting set up that released the magic smoke, i.e. I over-voltaged the Thumb 2 by accident. I believed what I put it on was a 5-volt regulator. It wasn't. And it let out the magic smoke. So I have a Thumb 2. I just don't have a working Thumb 2. So that's a bit of a downer. But I'll be honest. The real big interesting thing is how it compares to this, the Action 2, because it's lighter than the Action 2. It's newer, it's got a bigger sensor, but is it better? And the answer to that is yes, but not necessarily in the areas you would expect it to be. Now, I have a really big video coming on this, and I'm going to show you some stills on this in a minute as well. And I might show you a little bit of video. And I have to say, overall, I'm really impressed with this little camera. But there are some downsides. Truth is, I think the image quality is actually a little bit better on the Action 2. And what I mean by that is there's a little bit more detail in the Action 2. You could argue it's sharpness. However, it's largely a little bit softer. Is it better than 04 Pro? I would label it on par with 04 Pro. It's very close. Where this really wins over the Action 2 is dynamic range. The point is for people who don't fly with 04. Remember, there are lots of people flying with analog. There are lots of people flying with Avatar who want better footage. This isn't a replacement for 04, in my opinion. This is about... Well, it can be, because remember, you still have the quirk in 04 that you can't fly at lower frame rates and have low latency. So you might still want to have the action camera at 25, 30 frames a second and 04 at 100 frames a second. That actually makes a lot of sense. I've done a lot of testing. Image quality, I would put on par with 04. Although it is a little softer. Where this wins compared to the Action 2, though, is dynamic range. And it is night and day different. Just to show you a still, I posted a still on my Discord, and I'll show you some video in a minute. It is incredibly better in dynamic range. And I mean night and day. So, for instance, if I show you this... Oh, that's not worked. Let me open that in browser. There we go. If I go to the desktop, here are two stills from the same video on both different cameras, both in stock settings, coming round to look at the light. And what I wanted to show you is the dramatic difference in dynamic range, and it is dramatic between the two cameras. It is really a massive difference. The big complaint on the Action 2 was the fact that it just blacked out, and they have completely fixed it. Completely fixed that. Durability, in many ways, it's got to be more durable because there isn't a screen on the back you can break. I would argue it's got to be more durable. It's got to, you know, if you look at it, right, it's plastic. It's got a replaceable lens, so you can replace the lens. There's not a lot you can really break on it. You can put ND filters on it. You can unscrew it and swap it over. Yeah, it's durability-wise, I don't see how... Look, this is aluminium, so that's harder. But remember, you can break the screen on the back. There's no screen on this you can break. You can break the glass. You can break the glass, but you can replace it. So there are benefits. Now I have a very big video coming on the comparison with loads of footage between them. This bit I show you is just two stills from the same video to show the difference, because it is shockingly better. Honestly, it is. In every way, the shadows on this camera are better. In every way. And yes, okay, the exposure algorithm is going to behave slightly differently between them. Just to show you this, right? So this is where I really started to see it. So this is a shot at the sun on the Action 2. Okay? So a shot at the sun on the Action 2. So look at the shadows. Look at, obviously, the dynamic range. This is what you're looking at here. You know, all of this is blacked out. You can see the detail down here. But look, you know, all of this blacks out. When we then look at the same shot on the the Nano, I'm up a little bit higher, unfortunately, but it is a massive difference. When you see it, it is night and day. You can see in the trees. It handles bright condition dramatically better. Honestly, it is. I've been flying it. I've been looking at footage of it for 2-3 days, and it is amazingly better. Amazingly better. With regards to the image quality, I don't think it is. I don't have an Action 5 to compare it to. I don't think there's quite as much detail as the Action 4. On par with 04. In some ways, the Action 2 has a little bit more detail than both. But it depends on the sharpening. Problem is, none of these settings are equal. What I do know is this camera does have the same SoC as the Action 5. So this camera is not underpowered in any way. Although DJI have taken away the 50 frames a second in 4:3 4K. And I think it's to do with overheating. And what is interesting is when I got this right and tested this on factory firmware as it came from the factory, mine was overheating within 2 to 3 minutes on the bench. Honestly, it was crazy. After updating the firmware, I've had no overheating at all. Obviously, there are 2 sizes available. I pumped for the 128. You've got to be insane to go for the 64. Pay the $20. As for battery life, I reckon you will get between 6 and 8 3-minute flights on a full battery. In my testing today, I did 4 3 to 3.5 minute flights, and I was down to just around half. So obviously you're going to see that fall off quickly. So, but it also charges incredibly quickly off the internal battery as well. Overall, I have to say, I think this is a replacement for anyone using an Action 2. I haven't tested high bitrate mode much yet. I've been using standard bitrate mode. Unfortunately, I now need to start testing the high bitrate mode a bit more. I haven't even recorded properly out in the field in high bitrate mode. I've been sticking to normal. It doesn't have the same level of bitrate as the Action 4 in normal mode. The Action 4 is about 100 megabits to 110 megabits a second in 4K 60. You're only getting 60 to 80 megabits a second on this in normal mode. But what I wanted to do just now, and the reason I was recording just now, is I literally wanted to test in the studio what the bitrate looked like between normal and high bitrate mode. Yeah, roughly the same as the Action. I transferred 20 gig in about 4 minutes on the SD card. I haven't tested it up against a GoPro. I haven't got a modern GoPro, if I'm honest. I've got all of the DJI cameras. I haven't... What is the most modern GoPro I've got? I don't even know if I've got a GoPro now. I don't think I have. No, I must have a GoPro. Overall, it doesn't look bad. To give you an idea, at some of the footage from it today. Let me just get into this folder. I'll show you some stabilized. Which is this one? I'm not sure which one this is. I don't want audio. let's just have a look. A little bit of a. This is a little bit of. This has been through gyroflow, so I have gyroflow stabilized this today. So if you look at the bit rate on this, a second statistics, you're getting 100 here, but this is the stabilized, so that's come out of gyroflow. If we look at the normal footage, it's about 80 megabits a second. It doesn't look bad at all. It does record audio on board. And I'll show you it's coming over the water. It looks pretty good. It doesn't look bad at all. Let me skip to the bit I want to show you. Ah, yeah, here. If we come back round and I followed the water down, it looks pretty good. Indeed. Especially, and I'll be honest, it looks pretty good once you start pushing it into the sun. Battery was getting a little bit low on this flow. It doesn't look bad at all. It was a lovely evening tonight. You'll see now I come straight into the sun now. So here you go. On purpose, I tend to do... You can see I hung on it a little bit so you could see what the lens flare was like. It's not too bad. Not too bad. At all. I think if you push it hard, it'll do okay. Where is it? Where's the low level I come across into the sun? I was doing a few flights chasing the waves because I like to chase the waves when I'm testing cameras. It's a nice, easy way of having a look at the detail in the footage. I'll show you some other stuff in a second, and then I should be coming... Where is it? Not that one. No, it's not that one. It might be this one. Ah, no, this is down the other part of the beach where we start. Look, yeah, see, look, I always like chasing the water because I always like seeing how everything looks over the water. And I'll be honest, I think it looks very, very nice. Not bad at all. So risky, always risky, always risky. Where's the bit I wanted to show? There's a bit I wanted to show, but it's not the... Where is it? It must be the first video. The first video must have... This one must have the lower flights over the water. That's high. Where's the low ones? Ah, yes, probably this one. It's this one it'll be. Risk it for the biscuit. Yeah, over water is always a challenge. There were people on the beach, so I had to stay away from it. What I try to do in these flights is just keep it as smooth as I can, just to see how it behaves. What I do want to show, though, NDs, there will be. I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any for it yet, but there'll be NDs for it. So again, yeah, I tend to just swing around and then chase the waves. Yeah, look, it's nice when it's like this. It's just not often like this. That's the difference. There was a point earlier I want to show you where I bailed out. You will laugh at this. There is a, in this flight here, and you will see there was an oh crap moment. It was here. So you'll see now. There's an oh crap moment where I come around and you can see the birds, and suddenly I realise there's like birds everywhere. And I'm like, oh no, we're not going there. No. Let's go over here and take the altitude out. But they were everywhere. Look, you can see it. Look, you can see up there. I was like, oh, there's one as well. Let's go over here out the way. It is a risk at the beach when the tide has gone out. You then start to face bird problems. Unfortunately, I am gonna get hit by one day. Yeah, you're always at risk when testing that. You don't want to lose anything. You're always thinking, I don't want to do anything. It's like there, you go, well, do I bail out? Do I stay in? Do we keep the course? It's like that one. Is that going to move? Is it going to stay there? Is it going to come up? You don't know. So you have to sometimes just hope you don't have an incident. Now, what I will show you, if I show you this bit here in the first video, and I'm going to switch to the Action 2, because just note what the shadows and everything. So at this point here in the first video, I've also got this footage on the Action 2. I haven't stabilized it, but I got it on the Action 2. Just note what the shadows and everything look like, and then we will look at it on the Action 2, because you will see a big difference. So just note the shadows. It's quite dark even on this, but you can then see as we come up and over, we can still see the trees. Believe it or not, this looks a bit fuzzy. I had a fingerprint on the lens on the first flight. I missed. I only noticed it when I landed the second time. But if you now look at the trees as we come over, let's look at the trees. How much light, how much we can see down here. Because this is where you will see a big difference. What we can see in there as well. Right. So, let's then look at the same flights on the Action 2. And that should be Flight 5. Is what it should be. No, it isn't. Is it Flight 4? No, because that's at the field. Wait a minute. I might need to plug it in to get it off it. I don't know if I've actually downloaded it yet. We'll just wait for it to connect. So it should be. No, I think I've got multiple flights with the same names. It's not that one. It'll be this one. So we were about there, weren't we? Let me just find where we were in the footage. No, not that far down. Not that far. I just want to find the same point. I wonder if it's the one before this. 4, 3. No, it's definitely not 3 because that's unless it's 2. Ah, it could be 2. Don't you love it when how can I flip the video in? How can I flip the video? There's got to be a rotate option, isn't there? I don't want to crop it. I want to rotate, please. Inverted, yeah, it saved it upside down, which is dull. Anyone know in... Should we try in open with media player? I wonder if media player will play board. Unbelievable. Media player's got it. Here we go. Okay. Effects geometry. Ah, there you go. So where we want to be looking is here. So as we're using 2 different programs, we can probably line these up and you can see them side by side then. So if we go to flights, we go to Nano, we got a new folder. And if we go to... Let's go to this one. We'll go to the non-stabilized, so they're equals. So, brilliant. So it's a so someone just said effects, tools, effects and filters. Oh yeah, here we go. No, that's not done it. Right. So, we're lined up. You're going to see number 1 first of all. So, we're going to go on this one. What playback speed is that? Let's watch the stabilize, shall we? Don't know what happened there. Wow. So now this is just playing up no end. Right, let's do it in this. Let's look at the action. So, we'll do it in media player. So this is the DJI Action 2. Just so you can see what the light levels look like. This is completely blacked out, but you'll see it more when you come up over the top. This is where you will see the dynamic range difference between them. So if you look here, all of this is just black now. This has always been the #1 problem with this camera. If you look here, you just got nothing. On the Action 2, still nothing. Still very dark in the shadows, the Action 2. Complete black there. Whereas if we do that on the, let's open with Media Player again, because we can trust Media Player, it seems. So with Media Player, then we'll just look at it one more time so you will see the difference. So dynamic range is night and day. Someone asked, am I going to tear this down? I don't intend to. Because I don't think I will get this apart without completely destroying it. Yeah, if you look, so this still looks dark, but you can see a bit more. But now you can start to see, look, there is detail there. It's still dark, but you are seeing more for sure. And this was the big difference. You're seeing stuff here. So yeah, there's definitely more detail in the shadows. Is the Nano half of the 361? Well, this is where it gets interesting, because the Nano is using the same chipset that the Action 5 and the 360 uses. It is using the same chipset. I don't know if it's the same as the 360. I could be wrong on the 360. It might be a different chipset on the 360. But it's not the same lens. And obviously heat is going to be a factor. So look, there's a big video coming. I'm not going to tear this down because I don't know what it's going to achieve. You're going to see a board. We know what SoC is in there. You can see that there is metal under here. It's clearly very glued together. Yeah, internal battery is gonna be dependent on usage. I reckon between 6 and 8 flights is what you'll get. But there really isn't a lot to see. I do wish there was an OLED on it. I do wish there was a very small OLED so I could just see. Just like a status indicator. Just so I can tell I'm in the right mode. Also, a warning. If you are using this and you have this with you, this is a warning. You have this on your drone. Now, if this does what it did to me in the field today, just be warned. Ready? So, I've turned the camera on. There are times where this display will turn on as well. And it flattens the battery. Not much jello at all. It's pretty clean. It's pretty clean. It's no major problems whatsoever. Even in that bright sunlight without ND filters. But just be warned. So, I think this is a bit of a no-brainer. Especially when you compare it to the likes of the Insta360. The Insta camera is nice, but man, it still has Rocksteady, but you can turn it off and use Gyroflow. That's what I'm using. I'm using Gyroflow to steady, not Rocksteady. I haven't really tested Rocksteady much. I've just gone straight for Gyroflow. Because that's what most people are going to do. For the money, it's a no-brainer. Like when you look at it, and I said this about the Insta. When you look at this, right? In the UK, you can get this for I'm not going to talk about the 64 gig. No one, it's very similar to 04 Pro. In everything I've looked at, it's close enough to being identical. No one should buy the 64 gig. Okay? Just don't do it. So it's 259 in the UK versus the the Go Ultra. So it is 259. Oh no, that's not the UK pricing. Let's just get to UK so I can do comparison. 389. That is an insane difference in pricing. An insane difference in pricing. I actually really like it. I'll be honest. I really, really like it. I think, look, if someone's going to say, look, is it a replacement for a GoPro? No. It is a replacement for the DJI Action 2. It is a replacement for the Thumb Pro, the Thumb 2, whatever of those cameras you're going for. I don't even think I can set this to the US because I don't know if it's for sale in the US. It isn't, so I can't give you US pricing. 259 versus 389. It's a big difference. GoPro is going to be better. Action 5 is going to be better. Look, let's be realistic with ourselves. You would expect the bigger cameras to be better. But for what it is, Cinewhoops, anyone wanting to fly with an ultralight camera, that is the one I honestly think you should consider. My Action 2s when they fight. Yeah, 100% TS. I think it's a great option for that. Thanks, Trump. I'm not gonna sit here and say you should replace all your GoPros with it. It's not a bad option though. It genuinely, for that price as well. Yeah. So there's a very big video coming. 04 Pro. I'm gonna say it's on par with 04 Pro. That's everything I've seen. The exposure behavior, image quality, bit rates are all very, very similar. Very, very similar. I have done most of my testing in standard mode. If we just take a quick look at something, I just want to show you one last thing on this. So if we need to turn it around because it only offloads footage one way. I did a quick bit of recording in the studio in high bitrate mode just to see what it looked like. So to give you guys an idea, so normal bitrate mode, which should be this video here. Yes. So this was me. Oh my God. Something is very broken. But if you look here, bitrate in normal mode, recording in the studio, is about 60 to 80 megabits is what I've seen on average. 70 on average, but somewhere between 60 and 80. So this is normal mode, 67, 70. This is in 4K 60. 72, 68, 72. And now let's look at the same thing in high bitrate mode. High bitrate mode, we've hit 106 megabits a second. So you can get the 100 megabits a second in high bitrate mode. You're not going to get the 120 that the spec says because you can only get 120 in 4K 120. but you will get 100 megabits a second in high bitrate mode. In fact, you can get 107 there. So it will push similar to the Action 2 bit rates. But sorry, it's not available for the Americans. For the Americans, there is a solution. I've talked about this solution today. There is a solution to fix the American problem. Siati, really great point, Siati. You can swap this between builds. That is what this camera, I think, is really interesting at. Yes, you've seen them on Amazon US. Yeah, I do believe Amazon is shifting stuff through. That is definitely over 249 grams. That's for sure. No, this is not really. This is AI created. For those who haven't seen my video today, I have put a video out where I put a little bit of a skit on the end. The skit you've seen was the public publishable version. There is a version 1 which I did, which I just couldn't make public because I probably went too far. Yeah, the spelling on this and everything, some of this is done intentionally. I can't show you the other one. I will get myself into too much trouble. All I will say is Donald Trump's son hangs around with a lot of people with drones and eyeliner. That's all I'm saying. And drones and eyeliner is cool. But then again, you don't get to know. So, yeah, there is a probably will get me in a little bit too much trouble version, which I can't publicize because it's funny. I want to. Everything about me wants me to do it. Yes, look, the DJI problem is not looking good. So for those who haven't seen the video, DJI had a legal attempt to overturn what was going on. What is actually really interesting in it, and I do suggest you read the article on SUAS News, what is actually really interesting is almost everything wasn't upheld. Almost everything wasn't upheld. Especially in a country that arrests people for Twitter posts. It depends what you write. You got to remember, if you write to do something bad, then it doesn't matter if you write it on Twitter, on your own wallpaper. Writing that people should be killed should really get you locked up. Don't believe everything you read in the media. There's a lot more to that than meets the eye. But yeah, it is a mess. It is interesting that most of what was said against DJI wasn't actually upheld. Pretty much everything, and I'm just going to put this onto charge because it's flat. Pretty much everything was said not to be true. Or at least there wasn't evidence to back it up. But what was upheld was the fact that DJI has received money from the Chinese government. Therefore, by de facto, they are linked to the Chinese military organization. And that was what was upheld. How that differs from Skydio receiving government money from anything else, I don't know. You know, enterprise zones. There are enterprise zones in every country. So the truth is, DJI is being stitched up royally here. That is the truth. But it is looking very, very bad for them. It is looking pretty bad. So we're just going to have to wait and see. We don't know where this will end. You know, I have seen... I was told something last week which makes me wonder this might even be a bit worse than everyone anticipates, which is there's even whispers and moves I've heard, and this might not be true, to try and get all DJI drones out of US skies. They want them out, gone. But I don't know how you would even do that. You know, you would have to have police, basically. You'd have to have a rule that they're not allowed to be flown. It's only technically today going to affect new registrations. But this government is complex, and we don't know where this is going to go. I don't think they'll be buying them back. Let's just say. I think if they did this, it would be a grounding based on national security, and it would be tough crap. And it's your problem, is what I think they will do. But I just don't know if I see it happening. Genuinely, I just don't. The ban, I think, is going to happen. I think the ban will happen. Unless DJI do this, the ban's happening. Unless this happens, you know, the ban will. But what, the ban's no different to today anyway, because you can't get anything now. So it's a bit of a mess all around. It's interesting, but what was quite amusing is how much was not upheld. That DJI is directly supported by the government. DJI is owned by the Chinese government. DJI is supporting the war effort. Everything like that was tossed out. What was upheld was basically DJI has received some government backing in any way, which means they are complicit with the CCP and its military organization. So what they basically said is, if they have received, you know, a grant to, I don't know, have bloody lavender toilets, or, you know, a local grant for anything, it's boom, you're part of it. It's a very wide brush they've used to tar them with. Oh yeah, look, this isn't about just Trump. This was started before Trump came into government. This has been rumbling on for years. The difference is, I think, under a different regime, a deal would have been done. I think they are more than happy now to let this happen. Especially when the boy is playing with his unusual machines. But this is how you fix it. Yeah, it's bad. You know, there's no other way to, you know, there are people running around screaming. They are not specific on who has to do it, but they have to be authorized. Unless something randomly happens. The only good thing is this government is so random that this could all go away in 24 hours. Yeah, shell companies. We're in uncharted waters. This isn't just about money. This has been rumbling on for 5, 6, 7 years. What's funny about this, in a bad way, is this all stems back to DJI stealing people's data, Chinese drones, infrastructure. There has still never been any sort of concrete evidence publicly thrown at DJI. There are people who will tell you all of this nonsense that DJI have been caught stealing all people's footage and uploading data. None of this has been used publicly. And here's the truth. If it was happening, it would be public. Now, I'm not saying they're perfect. If you go and follow KF will show you enough of the bad stuff they have talked about and done. But there's really no big smoking gun here. There really isn't a big smoking gun. The Cambridge Analytica style gun. That just doesn't exist in this. It just doesn't. Yeah, yeah, look, as you say, it's about money, but it's a mess. So look, as for what this means for FPV products, there's talk. Fly High FPV is one of them, saying they're going to have O4 air units in soon. So if you want to get one, pre-order with him. Also, how DJI treated KF when trying to disclose. But that's a game. That's China. Look, KF is a good guy, but he's notoriously difficult to deal with at the best of times. And he wanted it done his way, which is the way he wanted to do it, and DJI wanted to do it their way. Like that's hackers. People like KF are brilliant, but they also, you know, they live in a world of how things should be done, and the rest of the world is trying to run a business, and there's a lot of grey in business, and that's what people are trying to do. You know, he turned down the 30k bounty. Fair play to him. You know, no one can ever knock the lad for that. The bloke's a genius. He's like the last person you want looking at your infrastructure, that's for sure. But look, let's see. Yes, but DJI didn't want to follow the standard procedure. So. Explosives in devices are a factor. Well, other than the battery, there's no explosives in these. Trust me, if there were, I'd have found them by now. Okay, so the next thing to talk about, just a couple of, before I wrap up on DJI. For those who don't know, Mini 5 Pro, there is also a cellular version of this available in China. Autofocus test. Woo! Autofocus. Oh, it's face detect. It's not working. Anyways, there is a cellular version of this available in China with bigger batteries. Who knew? So you can get an enhanced transmission version in China which uses 5G. That could explain why there's loads of space inside this drone at the top. And there is loads of space inside this drone at the top. But yeah, there is a cellular 5G version. And it's not a plug-in dongle. It is built into the aircraft from the factory, which is quite cool. I want to see that board. And I'm intrigued. Where does it go? How's the control latency on cell? Yeah, it's a few hundred milliseconds. It's over 250 grams then for sure. Yeah, absolutely. But they also do 50-minute batteries. So conceptually, how do 5G drones work? Well, you've got two types. So you have assisted, which assists it, or you have full 5G. And if it's full 5G, as long as you're in tower, it's unlimited range. It's potentially unlimited if you're within cell range. The big problem is cells are not designed for airborne use, so there are quirks to it. There are special SIM cards available from the manufacturers for testing this, from the networks, that use a slightly different setup. 5G coverage in the air, or 4G coverage in the air, is more complicated than it sounds, because the antennas are designed to direct the signals down, not up. I'm not exactly sure what I'm guessing you can program it to continue after a period of time or return to home. Oh, it's sick though. Absolutely. Very cool. Very cool indeed. It can be used as an OcuSync backup as well. Yeah, so if OcuSync drops, it can be used as a backup. It is very cool tech. You're still talking, 100 plus milliseconds of latency, which is fine on a camera drone. It's just not going to be fine in FPV. A1 Mini, well done, Stu. Hope you enjoy it. It is a fantastic printer. Mine is there behind me. It was printing these brackets that you see here just yesterday. This is why I love the A1 Mini. Just to show you guys this, I printed this yesterday on the A1 Mini. This brand new print. I didn't use support. I used a minimal support, so you can see there's a little bit of an error there because there wasn't enough support. Not the printer's problem. This is TPU that's been in my garage for weeks. I just leave it on the printer all of the time. I don't dry it. I don't bother. I just leave it on the printer. It's on it now. If I actually go to that view, you can see the blue spool in the corner. It's always on it. I don't dry it. I just leave it on the printer. I just look. This printer is so good at TPU. So good at TPU. This bracket is available on Thingiverse. I think it's okay. I'd have liked a bit more structure in the bottom. This bracket is available, but it's got holes in the bottom there and there. I'd have preferred that was solid. It's got a little bit more flex in it than I think it needs. And these edges, these are too big. Getting the camera out is really hard. This is really stiff, and this is quite soft PLA. But these edges are quite hard. I found it difficult to thing. I did use supports on this, but I used minimal support, and it didn't have any there, unfortunately. It's a nice bracket, but it could do with a bit of a tweak. I don't think it needs all of this. If I tilt that forward, I don't think it needs all of this around it to hold the camera in. Either the two bits at the side would be enough, or maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4. That would probably be enough. It's really hard to get the camera out of, and I mean really hard. You can see it there. They did put cuts in the corners, but yeah. So he's done a great job. Whoever, I can't remember who it was. It's on Thingiverse. But yeah, not bad at all. But that's printed on the A1 Mini. Yeah, I did the supports myself, and I didn't put enough on. So I did it manually, and I just didn't put enough on. But yeah, and then I printed the Y bracket to be able to fly with both cameras, which is just easier. Okay, so the next thing to talk about. Let me just check what I had in the dock. DJI band, da 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 da. Okay. Caddx appear to have released a new thermal camera, but this isn't new. By chance, did you weigh it? No, I didn't, unfortunately. I can get it off to weigh it, though. Caddx, I'll do this and then we'll weigh it. Caddx have released a new thermal camera for Avatar, and it appears to be for Avatar. It looks like it's for analog and Avatar. It is new, but it isn't. I just need to find the link for this on my Discord, because this isn't the kind of thing they publicize. Caddx, they don't tend to publicize their War Machine stuff, but it has started to come into stock in various websites. So it's the Eclipse 004 SL, which is available in a few different versions. And this is the 480 version. Yeah, we'll find that on thing. But it supports both analog and digital according to this. But what's worrying about it is they don't mention Avatar. They show digital here like they did before on their other box. 480 by 360. It's using the same AI box that Caddx have had on some of the other ones. Price-wise, it doesn't look bad. But it isn't clear. See, if we search for... yes. So they do say here, such as Avatar and Avatar GT. Yes, so they are now saying Avatar. Sorry, I missed that when I looked the first time at the top. It didn't say it down there. Which means this is probably the first official thermal camera that I have seen for digital FPV. That was close. Now, there isn't a lot of info on these. When you try to find info on these, you just don't find anything at all. There's just no info on these. Although, if you go on to the likes of AliExpress, you can start to find bits and pieces. I did yesterday find a video about this online. Here we go. On Instagram. Which is from TikTok. And you can see there that they show it to you, and then they're showing you the spec. But there isn't a lot of info on these cameras. Are you saying Billy Billy? Yeah, there's not a lot of info out there on these cameras at all. There really isn't a lot out there on these. There's just that thing we saw, and that is it. It is clearly becoming available, and it isn't shockingly priced, if I'm honest. $480 for 474. It's okay. Spots a warm pizza box at 20 meters. Okay. I would love to give this a try. I would absolutely love to give this a try. And it appears to have a day camera as well. So I just thought, look, it's out. It seems to have appeared. We don't know much about it. I've seen this before. It's not the first time we've seen this. What I'd like to know is how much options is there on this? You know, is the... I'm just looking down. Trying to find, is there any downloads on Caddx's page for this? Nothing just comes up at all. Analog systems. It's not listed under here. It's not really listed anywhere. Which is weird. They just don't seem to have yeah, I believe there is a way to switch in these. But there isn't. There just doesn't seem to be any info on this at all. Nothing whatsoever. Which is a bit weird. Bit weird indeed. Yeah, I'm not convinced it's really designed for the consumer market. Just looking down at a lot of talk about it in Ukraine. When you search for this camera, when you search for it, you start going through what yeah, there's not a lot in English here. At all. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, now's the time to put them in the chat. Someone said to me earlier about JB. Have I missed something? Did someone say something about JB? Did I miss something? I've not seen or heard anything, so I don't know what the question was related to. Just reading down in the chat. They asked if JP was dead. No, I think he's a busy man. I don't know. I don't know. Joshua Bardwell. Maybe he put a video out recently, didn't he? I think he put out a video recently, didn't he, Mr. B? Videos, desktop. Yeah, okay. 4 weeks ago, he put out the HD0 goggles. His review. Because JB doesn't follow the... That used to do the videos. Okay, I'll share with you guys some perspective. It's very hard to make content right now. And if you think about this, bugger all has really changed in all of the main software stacks. So, as an example, Betaflight is pretty stable. They're working on some fantastic stuff. You know, they're putting the wing stuff in, and they've been tweaking like Return to Home. But largely, Betaflight has stabilized. Express ELRS has largely stabilized. BL Heli 32 is gone. AM32 is pretty simple to use. So, from a how do I make some content on something, I can easily imagine if you're a creator like JB who is amazing at making educational tutorial content, there isn't that much to talk about right now. There are some little things you could do, but the truth is, when you have the back catalogue that JB has, he's already talked about it. Right? When it comes to reviews, there isn't a lot of products to talk about. JB has literally reviewed all of the latest products that have released. HD0 goggles, the TX15. He's done them. And it gets to the stage of, well, what is it you want to talk about? And do you want to just bang out content for the sake of it? Even my content is limited. You know, I put out a video this week on the Insta360 that completely bombed. But that was always going to be the case. I was expecting that. I've got a bunch of videos. I'm trying to get this video finished, which I've put a lot of work into, the Nano video. I've got some videos which I'm struggling to finish. I want to get them done. I had like a full tutorial series on Express ELRS that I did. I wanted to do 5 videos and I've recorded 3 of the 5, but I wanted to drop them all at the same time and I just haven't done it. I am finishing my video on the Speedy Bee stack. That's coming, but it's not a review, it's an overview. Yeah, he did do a video on the AOS high-speed drone. I saw that. I watched it, where it was in bits. Well, it sort of looked like that, if I'm honest. And he was giving it away, if I remember. So, yeah, look. I think right now, it's hard to make content in FPV because there isn't really much good news. Truth is, it's all pretty shit right now. And there isn't really that many new products coming. And I also think, and I'm in this boat as well, I am struggling with the mojo to put together sort of tutorial content. I'm really struggling with that. It's not been my bag anyway. You know, I don't do Betaflight, how you do this or that videos. I get excited like things like the Chapito, For me, that was new product, tutorial, let's do it. Boom. But for me to sit here and make a tutorial on Express ELRS and the 18 ways that you can bind it, I get bored once I get to the 5th or the 6th way. And my problem then is I sit here and go, I got to do the other 14 ways now that you can bind it, or it will catch you out because the manufacturer haven't followed the guidance of the Express ELRS dev team. And the receiver comes in binding mode. You know, whilst Express ELRS has done an incredible job of improving things, it's still a bit of a pain in the ass to figure out where you're at, in the sense of it has so many ways you can bind it, it's almost too complicated, which is a great thing. But I got bored once I got to like the 5th or the 6th way you can bind it, and it was like, now we're going to show you, and then you got to get into has it come with the latest firmware? Has it come in binding mode? Is it the right version? Sorry. So I can appreciate what it might be just not that easy to make content right now. JB, look, how many videos has this man got on his channel? How many videos has JB got on his channel? Let's have a look. Yeah, it is the 200. I don't know how many there are. Is there an easy way to see how many videos there are? There's gotta be a way, isn't there? $3,100. Jesus. JB's got 3,100. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm being blind. It's there. Yeah. Because you're nearly at 400k subscribers as well. Congratulations, JB. I also think that, look, JB did what, 3 or 4, 5, 6 solid years, and I mean solid years on this. He's been around a long time, but I mean, when did JB go full time? Can anyone remember? I can easily imagine he's probably at the stage of going, I'm going to take a bit of a step back now. I've built the building. I've built the empire. I'm not going to be pushing out videos, shitting them out for no good reason. And I don't blame him. Someone has said many creators have backed off. Yeah, and it is hard. And you know, I'm trying to be careful what I'm doing. There's some stuff which is sort of, I was asked to take a look at that I was genuinely interested in. The Hover Air was one of them. You know, this wasn't, oh, I fancy a new drone. I don't need a new drone. I just got the Mini. I don't need this. But I have seen this for 4 or 5 years from the beginning when they started. And I was genuinely intrigued at what this was like. So sometimes I will say yes to product reviews because I'm interested in it. Doesn't mean the audience is, but I was interested in it. The Insta360, it made sense. I wanted to look at how all the option differences between the Osmo and the Insta. But the audience may not always like that. I have some lovely ideas for content, but time is also a factor as well. Yes, I did see Pavel had put a video out. Is he still FPV University? Or has he changed the name again? Someone asked, can JB retire on the amount of content? I have no idea. Not posting. What I can tell you is not posting has a detrimental effect on the algorithm, which means you will slide down the list. The question then becomes, how far are you willing to slide down the list? Are you happy? You know, it's what you want from it. So going live, look, the live I find easier at times than content. There's a couple of things I made a couple of mistakes on recently. They're videos I should have done live and not recorded. I did my whole PC build, which I've recorded and I was editing on and off, and I've lost interest in it now. I should have done that live. I should have done that live. Live helps, but you've got to have something to talk about, and you've got to be, you know, JB used to do a very good, you know, the news, which was very rigid and straight with a little bit of opinion. Like, it wasn't like me. I pick 3 or 4 subjects a week to rant about. Is what I do. JB was very, let's talk about the news and like 10 subjects, which they did a great thing for. But even they ran out of things to talk about every week. You have people who are in this for business. You have people who are in this for hobby. You have people who are in it just because they want to. You know, we're all waiting for the Caddx launch. That's what I'm excited about next. I think drones have got very expensive. That's a problem, and the world's in a mess, and that makes it even more difficult. So, just seeing, YouTube wanted me to do something. Yeah, look, you can still buy DJI stuff through the back channels, is what I call it. Someone said lots of stuff not being reviewed anymore since digital took off. Cams, antennas, VRXs. Yeah, not really many analog cams are coming out. A question, Louis G, any Holly bro? Yeah, I have heard that things are improving, but I haven't had anything concrete. You know, the digital world has sort of... This Jump's son. Yeah, FPV's in a weird state right now. Truth is, genuinely new in FPV is quite hard to do now. Got to take into account, we did what, 5, 6, 7 years of genuinely new. Everything was that much better than the last one. Everything was, you know, analog cameras were getting better. Digital started step backwards, then forwards, then forwards and forwards and forwards. Goggles were improving. Radios improving. Everything has improved to the point where we're now at the iPhone 10 onward stage. They're all good. TX15, I think, is a great radio. The Boxer is a phenomenal radio. Just as good if you don't want Gemini X. Gemini. Don't want a colour screen. Pocket is good enough for pretty much everyone out there. There are lots of really good things. 04 now is just peak. So we've reached this plateau where it's quite hard to get excited or be like, oh my God, I can't wait till we can do this. And someone said something earlier, you know, where we're lagging is battery tech. We've fallen behind a bit on battery tech in FPV. We're not seeing gains. We're just not stepping forward in battery tech as much as we need to. Quads aren't flying really any longer today than they were 3 years ago, 4 years ago. If you look at what DJI is doing on things like this, we're not seeing those gains. And that is because we can't get the weight down. The weight has become our Achilles heel. Weight is now the killer. And that's frame, components. You know, if anything, VTXs have got bigger. Packs are smaller but not lighter. Yeah. HV lipos are, but the cost as well, you know. It's the cost. And even getting batteries, I don't know about you guys, getting batteries in the UK is a fucking nightmare. Honestly, getting batteries in the UK is a pain in the ass. I don't know what it is right now, but it's been like this for months. Months, months, and months. It's been like this. You just can't get batteries in the UK. Or at least you can't get batteries at a reasonable price. You know, let's have a look down here. If we go SMC here, look, 1400s. I've not tried them. 35 quid a pack, though. Jesus Christ. For a 40, that's a lot of money. CH&L Ultra Blacks, 32 quid. Not tried the CH&L Ultra Blacks. What are they like? Anyone tried them? What are most people flying then? So what are you guys, what size packs are you lot mostly flying on your 5-inch quads? Are you let's do a poll. There we go. I have started the poll. I can't edit it, unfortunately. I wanted to add in over 1400. You're flying over 14 on a 5-inch. 1400 gonna win. 14 to 1550. See, I always try go for 13s. I should add whatever's cheapest. Yeah, exactly. We're definitely at 1400 is the majority of people. See, 11s, I'm intrigued at. Very low numbers on the 11s. So, unmanned out of stock. Can we set it to it's actually in stock? Hobby RC won't have any batteries because they never do. One of your FPV are a great supporter of the channel. Let's have a look what he's got in stock. Dodgecoms. So we want 6S. Let's go 12, 13, 13. Let's put some sizes in here. Okay, so let's go 12 to 1400 milliamp hour. So these Dodgecoms 1380s, 25 quid each. That's okay. Dogcom. That's a better price. Never heard of this ONBO. Anyone know about these? I have no idea. Not sure what they are. Never heard of that. I've always struggled with GMB. But look at the lack of battery stock. Honestly, LiPo stock in the UK is horrific. It's been like this for months. Trying to get batteries. It's insanely hard to get batteries. Look, out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. Let's have a look at some sizings here. So 1300s. GMBs 32 quid. GNBs from 78. Okay, doing all that. What we got? 1300 6S GNBs 29 quid. GMBs, I'm not keen. The tattoo shop in stock. I've never bought direct. Tattoo batteries. So can you order their batteries directly? TNHL, yeah. So tattoo, we want. Come on, show me more. I want 6S. Come on. Okay, I can't choose 6S. We're going to choose the connector type of XT60. 22 volt nominal. Okay. Warehouse select. Change warehouse. So you got German as well. Okay. So do they ship to the UK from Germany then? I'll have to have a look at this. Yeah, like just getting batteries in the UK has been hard for ages. You know, the Dogcoms. I got a couple of Dogcoms and they failed early. Has anyone else had issues with Dogcoms? I have a thing against GNB. That's what I'm flying at the moment is pizzas, and mine are they're not beginning to have given up. They have given up. I've got something in my head about GMB. There's a lot of GMB in stock here. Look, 20s. Do you know what, why are there so many different? Look, what's this about? GMB, so that's a LIHV. Okay. So you got the 100C for 40 odd p more. So why would you not go for the 100C for 40p? And then instead of that, you can get the 140C even cheaper. And then we've got 160C. And then you've got the 1500 milliamp hours. We all know it's a scam. Yes, we all know it's a scam. But how confusing this is to try and figure out for people. Yellow ones are lighter. Interesting. Let's have a look, shall we? The yellows versus that. So that pack is... See, that's not a bad price. 235 versus 208. Well, it ain't there. That's the lighter one. Yellow and purple is good. Yellow and purple is good. So avoid the greens, is it? Because you've got greens here. See, that looks on that. That doesn't look bad. But that's 30 quid a pack. What are they a weight? 233. Avoid the greens. And goggles. Yellow and purple good for freestyle. Red and orange for long range. Me and GNB have always had a bit of a... I got into a big argument with their rep because they're the twoest light bows. I've had two of them go on fire. Did GMB sell direct? Free shipping to most of Europe. When they say most of Europe, let's just have a look. Okay, most of Europe, $89 for free shipping. That's okay. So if we go to 6S, right, okay. Okay, so now we're into green, orange, blue, so what's the blues? Someone just said, try the 1400 C160 pink. So you got purple, or is that pink? Oh no, purple. So we got what colours we got here? So we got yellow, purple, yellow, purple, green. That purple still? Yeah. And then pink. Do they have a chart of what their batteries are meant to be like? Because this is freaking hard. Colours equals C rating. Yellow is 160, 140, 140, 100. So the colours can't be C rated. Right. What? $73. Ooh. Purple is HV. Purple is HV. Yes, 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 yes. Maybe. Yes. Maybe. It's the but not always. Someone just said, yellow is also HV, but not always. That sums this up. This is an absolute mess. So what you're saying to me is, so how do you know what generation of cells? $71. Oh, is that for two? Oh, $71 for two. So what's that for five? 154 for five. $30 each. What's pound to dollar today? $30. That's 22 quid a pack. That is all right. That is okay. That's not a bad deal. Now I've seen it, that is actually at 22 quid a lipo. That is pretty decent. I might be tempted at ordering a pack of 5 of them. How likely are they to go on fire if abused? But not UK. They are heavy. Yeah, what's the weight of them a pack? 233. What are the pizzas? Weigh. What's the 1100 GNBs? That's the 1100 CNHL blacks. What do my scales go up to? I don't know what my scales go up to. Oh, they don't go that heavy. Where they? $208. What's a pizza? What's a success pizza go to? Have a look. $216 on a. They are heavy, aren't they? They're even heavier than a pizza success, but they are a bigger pack. That's pretty good money. And they deliver that to the UK as well, which is pretty good. The fact that they will deliver that to the UK. Free shipping over $89 to the most of Europe. So they're saying free shipping threshold. EU most countries, UK, Russia. Ah, no, not UK. Sorry. UK. I read that wrong. Still can't get them. Well, I can, but at 30 quid each in the UK. Someone said tattoo. So if we go to tattoo batteries, change warehouse to the German warehouse. Do these ship to the UK? How do we even find out? Where does it say? Nowhere does it say where they ship to. Where's the postage policy? Why is there no postage policy? How? It's like, hello? Drone battery. Tattoo Pro? What are we looking at? Tattoo Pro? Is that what we're looking at? No, we're not looking at Tattoo Pro. FPV quad. R-Line V6. So, R-Line V6, 44 euros each, 1480. Not even available, look. V6 is sold out. V5. Okay. That's 4S. 6S, please. Thank you. Let's have a look at size. 1400. There you go. 150C. What's the weight on that? 222 grams, so they're definitely a bit lighter. They no longer ship to the UK. Dabby dozy. So I'm going to be ending up with Hobby RC at 30 quid a pack. I would have preferred 22. I would have preferred. GNB, if you're watching, why can't you ship to the UK? Does anyone know the rep from GNB? He hates me. So, anyone know the rep from GNB? I suspect it's because since we left the EU. That's the reality. There's plenty of boats. That's what it'll be. It will be since we left the EU. It looks like GMB have got them in stock. Yeah, someone said about the OMBOs on your FPV. Yeah, they've definitely got to be worth a look. 26 quid a pack. I wonder what they're like. Quite light. Someone said, I think Rossa tested them. I'll be honest, lipo testing. I thought about doing lipo testing, and I'll finish on this. I heavily discussed this on my Discord group, and I come up with ways of doing this. And look, I just want to be clear. I'm not saying anything Ross is doing with his testing is wrong. It's not that I think it's wrong. I just don't think it gives you a good enough picture. Knowing how a battery performs when new through a stress test is going to give you some metrics. What it won't tell you is how many of them have gone on fire in the first 3 months, how many of them have ballooned, how many of them have randomly failed. I think testing batteries on a shelf from the shelf will tell you how much the manufacturer is lying. It doesn't tell you how good the battery is. And as such, I don't pay that much attention to it. You know, if you could sit here and have a battery that passes every test and has the most capacity, yet they all die in 3 months, that's not going to be shown in any form of testing. What tells you is how people are trying them in the real world. And that's why it's far safer to say, hey guys, what's your favourite battery? And I'm going to put this out as a poll on the channel. I think this is actually a good subject. And we were talking earlier about hard to make content. So what I'm going to do is put a poll up on the channel. I'm going to do a video and say, look, I think it's time to understand what... In fact, I am going to do it now before we end this. So that means I can be lazy, right? And I can cut it and put it up, and then I can do the poll. So you're going to get me record something in one hit, hopefully. On this week's live stream, a discussion about batteries seemed to come up. No, I fucked it already. There you go. On this week's live stream, we had a discussion about what are the best LiPo batteries, or at least what batteries are people buying right now. Now, we spent some time going through some websites, and the reality is in the UK, it's actually really hard to buy LiPo batteries, and many of the manufacturers aren't even allowing you to buy them directly from them over into the UK, and instead you're going to have to go through retailers. The biggest question though is, what is your favourite battery? Because there are lots of people who have a battery which they prefer over another. You have Chris Rosser that does his testing, but that, in my opinion, doesn't give you the full truth. So what I want to know from you out there is, what batteries are you using? What is your preferred battery? What I'm going to do is put a poll up somewhere. There's going to be a link to that in the description. I haven't figured out which way I'm going to do it yet, but we're going to create a poll about batteries to try and understand what ones you prefer. Now, I am going to put some provisos on this. I am only going to be discussing 6S 5-inch FPV quad size packs. So we are talking 1100 milliamp hour to 1500 milliamp hour, 6S or 6S HV is fine. We're going to stay in that realm there. We might talk about other batteries later, but we're going to stay in that region a minute to try and understand where things lie. So if you would like to take a look, there will be a link to the poll in the description. Let me know what you think in the comments as well. And then we'll make a video to follow this up and see what turned out on top. There you go. Done. That'll do. Lazy, lazy, lazy. Your most hated battery. The worst round of just a minute. Right. On that note, look after yourselves. We should be back same time, same place next week. You never know. Something new might have happened since then. I just want to say a big thank you for everyone who supports the channel and follows the channel here on a Sunday on the live streams. It's about the only good content. I'm not going to say good. It's the only content you're getting from at the moment. However, look after yourselves. Stay safe. And I will speak to you soon. Thank you, Love Mad's recording voice. Yeah, I go into studio mode. Welcome to Hello! Welcome to studio mode. Duffman. Duffman. Everyone knows Duffman. Duffman can't breathe. Shall I play something at the end of this live stream? No, it'll get me into trouble. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.